Hi, and welcome to another episode of Kuntarkis. My name is Michael Yon, and this episode is The Silent Assassin. This is the first life on Earth that Kuntarkis had, and he's going to go into great detail about it, which is really exciting. And it starts with how later on he got to see the life in its entirety because he was in the universe of the Nipulans. You'll remember the Nipulans from past episodes, the seventh dimensional aliens from far away. He got to, well, he explains it here.
I've been spending quite a bit of nighttime reading the past, and just recently I went there and I actually saw what I'm about to read out on the Silent Assassin. I saw everything. It was like watching a movie on their massive screen computers, and I mean massive. And it's just incredible to see what took place back over 13,000 years ago, how things come about. And it also shows what is happening in our society today. I mean, you take the guy by the name of Frederick Trump, which was the grandfather to Donald Trump. And Donald Trump's father was Fred Trump. Now, the grandfather, born in the 1800s, he actually knew Nikola Tesla. And they collaborated over many, many years. And what Nikola Tesla did was invite him to a very secret place and took total trust in him. And Nikola Tesla said to him, "I have a funny feeling that I am being seriously watched, and I believe that I may either disappear or I may be murdered." And that's what he told Frederick Trump. He taught Frederick Trump everything about his time machine. And that his time machine was in a place that was underground that he discovered, and he actually bought the place or rented it, I'm not sure. But that's where the time tunnel machine was, underground. And no one knew where it was except Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla, as I said before, taught Frederick Trump everything about how to operate the machine and took him on different journeys, local journeys, because he was still completing certain obstacles that needed completion on his time machine. Now, apparently, Frederick Trump, he was going through different dimensions, and he learned. After Nikola Tesla was murdered with arsenic over a long period of time, he took the actual time machine from where it was in case there was some form of information where it could possibly be, because Nikola Tesla's apartment was raided in New York City only less than a day after he died. And they took everything, absolutely everything. So they could have possibly found something that could have linked the knowing that actually time machine existed. So Frederick Trump took it and he put it in a place that no one would find. And he told absolutely no one about it. And he traveled through time. When he died in the early 1900s, I believe the early 1900s, Donald Trump apparently uses it. Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
Yeah. And there is rumors I've discovered. My wife actually found something. And she said, "Wow, you were just telling me about this not long ago, all this new information because of the Nipulans. And here it is, this guy with his own theory about Donald Trump, the grandfather, and also Fred Trump, his father." So it was very, very interesting. So what's going on in the world, mate, is absolutely amazing. When I say amazing, I'm not calling it positive or negative. What I'm saying is we are completely blind to the amount of amazing technology that has been brought into humanity's evolution. And most of us have no idea how it came about. And as I've said to you before, if you look at a phone, like say a 5G mobile, it's run on energy. Unfortunately, it's a negative energy, but it's run on energy. And you can type a text, you can send an email, you can do a voiceover, send it, and it comes out the other end perfect, just the way you did it. So why would there not be other forms of amazing technology existing within the Earth's vibration that we have no awareness of?
Yeah, for
What do
sure.
you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Yes. Okay. I just wanted to say that I thought that would be very interesting to sort of add that in, because I think a lot of people would have absolutely no awareness. And at the moment, the amount of negativity that is being placed upon Donald Trump by the elite criminals and paying massive amounts of money to try and find any form of negative information on him so they can force him to resign. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Soon as you are a good guy and you're trying to share your knowledge, all these so-sos, I won't call them the name, go to put you down. Now, what people are going to think about what I'm about to speak about and read, if they believe, they believe. If they don't believe, they don't believe. It doesn't matter either way. But I will say one thing. When I finish doing this, I would say to you, this would make an amazing movie, The Silent Assassin, because of what I saw on the Nipulin's computer system. That is all energy. That's all it is, energy, through thought consciousness. What I saw was so many parts that I haven't put in because it wasn't shown to me at the time. What I saw was the most relevant things. So that's what I'm going to be talking about and reading about.
Yeah, excellent. Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. This is not the actual title, but what I've actually called this part is From One Incarnation to the Next. And that's to do with 13,331 years ago. And then, after their life completed, finished, many years passed on in human history, and then Buddha came into existence. So I'm going to start. This is an explanation to why I chose to write what is below. Since my experience way back in August of 1988, that direct connection to my own soul changed my thinking, my whole way of existence, in every way. What I discovered then, in that moment, in my communication with my soul, that we each have a very unique ability that comes directly from one's pineal gland that sits just under the human brain, basically within the center of the human brain. Many upon planet Earth, throughout human history, refer to it as the third eye, just above the nose in the center of your head, which is your connection to all that is beyond planet Earth and within your own universe, being your physical self. Over the last 54 human years, in doing my own personal research, I came to the conclusion that we as humanity are indeed so much more than just being called human. To give an idea in how we are so different to many other species beyond this realm of physical matter, one must look at what we are made up from and the body forms we have created, so we can exist upon planet Earth, which is a third-dimensional vibration, a complete separate universe within itself. By the way, there is an episode I believe called Planet Biology on our podcast. The interviewer is Michael Yong, and I, as Kuntarkis, present that knowledge. The episode called Planet Biology will give much more in-depth information on the following. I've chosen to read this because I think it plays a very important part in both of these incarnations, so people learn to understand what we as humans are all about. This is called the human chakra center points. The human chakra system is an amazing achievement that was created through thought consciousness by a substance called living energy. There are around 147 very important chakrases within the human body, yet there are many more that also help the balance of the body. There are 9 main chakrases that follow the center line of your human body. The line of energy must flow in balance and is vital for a human to function in a balanced way. Some say there are 12 which line up from under the human feet to above the human head and normally turn clockwise. Each of these centers, being 9 or 12, vibrate at a specific frequency. The one that vibrates at a much higher frequency is the throat chakra, because it is our communication, while the heart chakra vibrates at a much slower frequency. The chakra centers are part of our sensory system, which vibrate at a particular frequency to balance a human body from head to toe, so it will function in complete harmony. But if our food and liquid intake is of poor quality, meaning being a consumer of junk food, that's where the imbalance will occur. And over a period of time, some chakra centers will begin to show the human body is out of balance. And if nothing is done to improve the issue, over time will cause stress and discomfort to the human body, and eventually lead to emotional human self-created diseases, which has become a very big problem within most of humanity. We each need to understand that emotion, be it negative or positive, plays a big part to our well-being, whether it is mentally, emotionally, physically, or spiritually. What I'm about to express is a simple meaning of each chakra and their location within the human body. The first is the base chakra, which is centered at the base of the human spine. Second is the spleen chakra, is centered in the lower part of the human belly. Third, solar plex chakra, is centered slightly above the abdomen. Fourth, heart chakra, is directly in the center of the chest. Then we have the throat chakra, is located at the throat below the chin. Sixth, third eye, is located directly between the eyebrows. Seventh, crown chakra, in the center above the head. Eighth, soul chakra, is what creates you to experience human existences. Ninth, creation, being living energy, divinity, pure consciousness, your direct connection to your mind. The interesting factor, all chakra centers communicate with each other through vibration, which is their way of speech. But we as humanity speak verbally, being sound vibration. So now I can explain why I went back well over 13,000 years ago and experienced a lifetime with an amazing human being known as Kalusha, who in this incarnation is my beautiful human wife. Kalusha originally is from a planet called Nakaris, living within an extraordinary civilization called the Nakarons. Their planet is 417,000 light years from planet Earth. They have existed in their own evolution for over 27 million years. and Kalusha has lived thousands of incarnations on that planet, as well as myself being Kuntarkis. What I have to say about Kalusha is beyond words. She is inspirational. She has one of the most beautiful hearts. Her understanding as a teacher is simply amazing. We as beings have been together throughout thousands of existences on Nakaris and several other planets. But when we came together on this planet Earth over 13,000 years ago, it was just incredible, to say the least. Kalusha knew the circumstances that were happening on Earth way back then through her deep research. And after her communication with me, we both decided to come and incarnate through certain humans back then to try and prevent what would happen in humanity's future. Kalusha was born as a human male. I was also born as a human male. Kalusha's name was Zhenglai Wang, and I was given a name called Shanglu Sha. So the story of the past begins below. The reason I am sharing this is to show humanity how karma through reincarnation can affect our lives throughout each of our existences, even our own evolution, in a positive way or a negative way. It teaches us each to learn one of the biggest lessons called the balance in life, and to let go and move into a new reality. So let's begin. The silent assassins, Zhenglai Wang and adopted son, Shanglu Sha. The silent assassin called Zhenglai Wang existed in his form of reincarnation a little over 13,000 human years ago. Zhenglai Wang dedicated his human life completely to justice, not just for himself, but also his people. For over 25 human years, he trained with several different teachers of the martial art world in Asia. He went deeply into learning all about the ancient mysteries of dark magic in China and India. And because he was a man of the heart, he learned through his own mastery and turned the negative forces into positive forces, which did cause him lots of pain and negativity from the invisible world of evil, meaning the lower ends of the astral vibration. Once he balanced his own energies into positive energies, he became his own master of light. Over the years of his own evolution, many of the evil feared him because of his power of magic, as well as his abilities of his Chinese martial arts, which was quite unique, to say the least. From what I viewed, he was to me limitless in all things. Zhenglai Wang's whole purpose was to serve the general public because of the present emperor, who was not only a cruel dictator, but demanded complete loyalty of all his people back then. If they didn't follow his ruling, his orders, they were thrown into prison, tortured, or killed. Zhenglai Wang's wife and his 4-year-old daughter disappeared while he was away working in order to support his family, because he was naturally a little bit of a rebel. The losing of his beloved family changed his life forever, and he swore he would have justice for the horrendous crime against his innocent family. After all of his own personal secret training, he became known as the silent assassin, who was hunted by the orders of the emperor. Through the years, because of his unnatural abilities, he always avoided capture, and yet creating many negative outcomes for the emperor. The emperor lost many of his soldiers in trying to capture the silent assassin. This went on for many human years. The following is what was shown to me. Zhenglai Wang was on his journey back to his secret cave high up in the mountains, where very few people ever ventured, mainly because of the bandits and wild carnivore beasts who live quite near to the mountains. Zhenglai Wang was very aware of their existence, yet could avoid them quite easily. As he was several miles away from his cave, he came across a farm that had been attacked, that seemed to only have happened a little while ago. All the people had been murdered, and the farm was set alight. His facial expression showed signs of deep sadness as he looked around, seeing women and men slaughtered. He noticed a handle sticking out with a dead body laying upon it. When he removed the handle, he was shaking his head, knowing it wasn't bandits or even a warring tribe. The sword was made from the kingdom of the emperor who murdered his family. His anger began to rise up, for what he was seeing was another family slaughtered by the same emperor, Quang Chang. As he walked around slowly, he could tell it was a father, a mother, and two young boys, and a young girl. The others who were murdered would be the workers on the farm, and his heart began to ache as he saw several young children, boys and girls, all slaughtered, laying there lifeless. He spoke out, asking, "Why murder the children?" He shook his head from side to side with such anger, yelling out, "I will come for you, Emperor Quang. Nothing will stop me from bringing justice to the ones you have murdered." As Zhang Lai Wang walked around looking at all the lifeless bodies that once had life, he stopped suddenly, hearing a strange sound. His hand moved to his sword with such lightning speed. He listened with intensity. There it was again. He looked down to his feet. Again the sound echoed. He bent down, removing a thick weaved square cover. To his total surprise, there sat a young child, no more than 15 months old, smiling at him. He let go of his sword and with both hands picked up the child, holding the child in front of him. As Zhang Lai Wang looked at the child, he said, "Who are you, child? Why were you in the hole? Oh, I see. You were placed there so you would be safe. You, child, are the only one who survived." The child made lots of sounds, but Zhang Lai Wang could not understand him, as he was too young to speak correctly. Zhang Lai Wang held the child to his chest as he walked around. He realized he could not bury all the people. He was concerned the soldiers would come back shortly. So he placed the child in a safe place, then began to gather up all the bodies, placing them in a circle upon each other, with the deceased children on top. He found some large containers of oil and saturated the bodies with the oils. The oils back then were very flammable. He bound some cloth around a tree branch, saturating it with the same oil, then walked over to the fire that was still burning and ignited the cloth and throwing it onto the bodies. The flames were intense. He picked up the child, wrapping it up so he could put it around his shoulders, then walked away. As he walked for several miles, the child fell asleep, eventually reaching the base of the mountain. As Zhang Lai Wang climbed and climbed up and up, he reached this cave he always called his home. Just then the young child awoke and began to cry. He seemed hungry. Luckily, Zhang Lai Wang had some unusual animals that also produced what he would call milk. He fed some of it to the child, which made the child sleep again for many hours, as well as Zhang Lai Wang, who also fell asleep for hours. At this point, while they are both asleep, I need to explain the running vision I am being shown and how all of this came about and how I was part of this long ago. So I came to my present human body on the 29th of August 1969 at 11:11 p.m. at a place called the Alexandra Hospital, located just outside of Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. It was through an agreement between the original recipient, being Roman Harambura, as myself as Kuntarkis, being a Nakaran from the planet Nakaris, being just over 417,000 light years from this earth. Being with this human body over the last 54 years, I have worked on myself, my awareness, my consciousness, and transferred from my human brain, which is simply logic and self-conditioning, and learned how to connect to my mind being pure energy, which is the substance known as living energy, which is connected directly to my soul, who in reality manifested my human body, my spirit, my all. It can be a very long process to achieve, yet my persistence has opened up areas within my cellular memory that has given me the inner and outer abilities to discover the unknown. We are each spirit before we are physical, because we each are created and manifested, as stated above, from a substance called living energy, where all things in all universes come into formed reality from that energy. So back to this visual reality. As I am seeing both of them still asleep, I want to briefly explain what is being shown within the cave that Zhenglai Wang calls his home. The first thing to me, this cave is just enormous, yet completely amazing. The inside of his home, called the cave, is not naturally formed. The cave is at least, being at the base ground, about 80 feet in diameter. From the ground to the top, calling it the ceiling, would be around 60 to 70 feet high. The whole shape, from the ground to ceiling, is enormous, like a dome, shaped like a dunce hat or cone head. It has a walkway around 30 inches wide, going up and mostly all the way around the wall of the cave. As it comes up to the pivot point, like saying half center of the cave, it has another level. How big it is, I am not too sure, as my vision didn't enter that area. The part that simply amazed me was the running water that flowed from the right-hand side of the cave into a small pond. I noticed on that side of the cave, where the water flowed, was a green substance that I believe is some kind of moss, being quite thick. The pond is about the height of Zhenglai Wang in depth. The pond seems to be running constantly. It doesn't seem to overflow, which means it must have an entrance or an exit point where the water flows out. I did notice on the far side of the cave was something shining in two places. I worked through my inner mind to reveal what was under there. To my amazement, I discovered there were at least 19 metal shining beams that could have been around 10 to 14 meters in length, or even longer. Then I had a vision break through. The massive cave was created well over 3 million human years ago by an alien race called the Armagods, who were creating secret bases on planet Earth to extract the Earth's minerals. But apparently it seemed like they suddenly left the planet, never to return. I remember in my own mind that I have spoken about the Armagods on different podcast episodes. They have been coming to our planet many times in the past. They are not an aggressive race of aliens, but their advanced technology is quite supreme. Then I saw Zhenglai Wang wake up, stretching out his body, moving some of his clothes. Just then the little child also woke up. He picked up the child, removing his clothes. Then he walked into the pond, washing himself as well as the child. The child reacted to the cold water, but it didn't take long for the child to like the water, as he splashed madly with Zhenglai Wang laughing loudly for several minutes. Time went on as it showed me Zhenglai Wang was eating the green moss by the handful, as well as feeding the little child. What was being revealed to me made me think what the true meaning of the words existence of what reality truly is. I was seeing a reality of Zhenglai Wang and the little child becoming a bigger child within the years just passing by. What is truly amazing to watch, Zhenglai Wang teaching him the art of self-defense as well as attack and destroy. They did all sorts of things like using the rock pathways for running so fast, even spinning at great speeds. In my current life as a human being, I have never seen any form of training like this back then. They played games even when training. They even played hide and seek which blew my mind. Then present reality showed me Zhang Lai Wang was becoming older, and the young boy was now a young man. They fought with swords. They fought with short sticks that I would call Kylie sticks, even fighting with their bare hands, their legs, even their full body. The force of their strikes was so powerful, I could see the energy that was being manifested to create the end result. They chased each other like they were playing a game, yet the game was very serious at different moments. Then came the time that Zhang Lai Wang asked the young man, who still did not have a name, to sit and listen, while Zhang began to demonstrate real actual magic created and manifested from living energy. The strange thing I began to feel was another vision. It revealed to me what I did back on my home planet, Nakaris. The young man's eyes were completely intrigued. He focused his whole attention on the man he called father, master. Over many human years, the young man learned the whole reality of real heart magic and where it originated from. Zhang knew, just by observation of the young man he called son, that his heart was in the right place. Zhang taught him everything he knew, and one day after coming back from a secret mission, they ate some food, and then Zhang put his hand on his son's shoulder, asking him, "Would you please sit, my son, as it is time for me to give you your name?" Zhang Lai Wang smiled at his son as they both sat on the sandy ground within the cave close to the pond, with Zhang saying, "I am so proud of you, my son. I am also very happy within myself for taking you into my life and passing on all the knowledge that I've learned. You have shown me by your actions that you are a man of the heart. I have been given a name for you from my sleep time, and I will call you Shang Lu Sha. Its meaning is Shadow Master for Justice." There were several moments of complete silence as Zhang's son spoke out with a shining smile, saying to his father, "I am honored, my father, for the name that you have just given me. I like it. Thank you, father." Zhang Lai Wang smiled, saying to him, "You are most welcome, my son. Now we need a good plan to remove the Emperor Huang Chang forever. It will help set not only the army of the Emperor free, but also the people. The plan must be set out in detail. There are 200 Emperor guards, and they are all well trained. They have been given everything for their loyalty to the Emperor, so they are our first task. Then Emperor Huang Chang. The Emperor's kingdom is nearly impenetrable. There are 10,000 warriors within the kingdom walls where the Emperor lives. That's where the 200 guards are stationed, guarding the Emperor every day. Those guards are not permitted to marry. Whenever the Emperor goes, so do the guards. But we have an advantage. We are Shadow Masters. What you cannot see, you cannot kill. Which means, my son, we will be the ones who will kill all of the 200 guards, leaving Emperor Huang Chang alone for us to serve swift justice for my family as well as yours, and all the people of that kingdom. There is a secret that I will tell you after Huang Chang is removed forever." The night went on with the planning, and then there was day with both father and son preparing for the night to come. As the day passed, it showed me both of them riding what looked like horses, hairy and very bulky in size. They seemed taller, even their necks were longer than horses of today. They appeared to be riding quite fast, and this seemed to go on for quite a while. Then what was being shown, they were kind of hiding behind large rocks, no longer having the unusual looking horses. With night coming on, they waited for several hours. Then I saw them literally climbing the massive walls, then onto other walls, then within the massive building. Then it all began. Bodies of guards were falling to the ground by dozens, very quietly. In my actual vision, it was like they just fell asleep and hit the solid floor or stone. and didn't move a muscle. I just watched on with amazement. I didn't see any blood flowing from any of the guards. The silent assassins, being father and son, moved so rapidly. It was as if time speeded up. Yet the guards, in their movements, seemed very natural. My vision was showing me the bodies of all the 200 Emperor guards laying silently dead on the solid floor of stone. Then I saw Zhang and Shang walking towards the two high large doors of the Emperor's chamber, with Zhang Lai Wang opening one of them very slowly. As they both moved quietly into the Emperor's chamber, they both stopped about 30 feet from the Emperor's large bed that had long, tight curtains all the way around. They seemed to be moving slightly, flowing like a breeze was moving around them. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the Emperor sat up in his bed, turning his head to their direction, saying loudly, "What are you two doing in my chamber?" The Emperor called out in a deep, loud voice, "Guards!" The Emperor calls out again, "Guards, I have two intruders. Guards!" Zhang Lai Wang speaks out, "Your guards cannot save you, murderer. I am here to serve swift justice for the murdering of my wife and my 4-year-old daughter. My name is Zhang Lai Wang, more so known to you as the silent assassin that you have been hunting for years." The Emperor's eyes widened as he stared at him. "You are Zhang Lai Wang, the silent assassin? Then who is this barbarian that stands by your side?" As my vision became more intense to what was being shown from so long ago, it reinforced how karma follows all of us throughout every lifetime until we each take recognition of what we each have created in each of our own personal lifetimes. And my old saying, be it positive or negative. And that's why we each reincarnate over and over, some a few dozen times, mostly hundreds or even thousands of times, until we each resolve what we each have created throughout all of our lifetimes. The truth is, once we achieve the positive outcome, we find balance in life. And that's what it's all about, balance in life. As I looked on without any form of judgment, Zhang Lai Wang answered the Emperor's question as he turned looking at his son. "This is my son, not by my blood. He is called Shang Lu Sha. I gave him that name. His whole family was murdered when he was only about 15 months old by your soldiers, who made out they were bandits. But Quang, you were the one who murdered his whole family, because Shang's father was your younger brother, Ling Chang, who was offered the kingdom by your father, Wang Chang, because you were so jealous that he was picked for his wisdom, not you for your hatred. You wanted the throne, the kingdom, so you had your brother and his whole family murdered brutally. Yet, here we stand within the kingdom. Your 200 guards are dead. Now justice must be served, Quang. You will be removed forever. And the funny thing is, my son Shang was given his real name at an early age by his birth parents. He is Zhan Dichang, who will, if he chooses, to become the new emperor, like his father Ling Chang, who should have been. Yet, in the end, it all comes into perfect balance, doesn't it, Guam? The vision being shown to me is just amazing. Here I am in the present human year of 2025, and this vision from the long gone past, which is well over 13,000 years ago. Wow, this living energy that I have been working with for the last 54 human years in my rented human body has definitely been all worthwhile. The history of the past from being physical is gone, yet we each can reconnect to the actual reality of what was back then, whatever era or year in that time factor. In this present moment is our actual reality, and it is constantly changing every single moment by the power of our own thoughts. This moment is reality, yet what is to come is the future, which has no substance. Why? because it has not yet been written by each individual's thought consciousness. That's why we each live in what is referred to as the present moment. So now let's continue. As Emperor Quang Chang listens to what has been expressed by Zhang Lai Wang, the anger rises up within him as he says in a strong yet very sarcastic manner, "You think you and this barbarian can remove me as emperor because you murdered my guards? I have over 10,000 soldiers within my palace grounds alone who have sworn their allegiance to me in any way that I see fit. I also have 6 sons who have trained in all ways for combat. They are also my generals. I would like you to meet them." The emperor, with a sarcastic smile, raises his hand, then gives out a loud clap. What I saw happening within moments was incredible. 3 men just seemed to appear from the left of the emperor, as well as 3 men from the right side of the emperor, standing in front of the bed. They were well armed, even their battle gear. As they stood there silent, the emperor smiles as he speaks out. "You, Zhang Lai Wang, and your barbarian, have a choice. Die within my bedchambers now, or surrender. What will it be, Zhang Lai Wang?" Zhang Lai Wang looks into his son's eyes as Sheng Lusha says softly, "It is all about justice, father. I am here to serve you, my father." Zhang Lai Wang smiles at his son as he said, "Yes, my son, justice." Wang turns back to the Emperor Huang, saying firmly, "No, we will not surrender. Justice will be served right here, right now." Emperor Huang stares at Zhang Lai Wang as his face shows his deep-rooted anger, yelling out, "Kill them both, now! Chop them up and feed their bodies to the wild beasts." The Emperor's 6 sons move swiftly towards Zhang and Chang, swinging their long-bladed staffs at both of them. The Emperor grins, thinking his sons will kill them both, but from the vision I am seeing was beyond words. As Zhang and Chang move so swiftly all around, even leaping high over the 6 sons, the sons seem to show signs of confusion. As the battle continues, the sons of the Emperor Huang begin to fall to the solid stone floor, one by one. The eyes of the Emperor, to me, from what I was seeing, showed fear, as the last son fell to the solid floor, dead. Zhang and Chang stopped their amazing movements, looking at the Emperor gripping his bed sheets tightly as he speaks. "My sons cannot be dead. They were the best warriors. They were trained by the best in all the lands. How can these 2 barbarians defeat them? It is not possible." Zhang Lai Wang replies to his statement, "Your sons come from evil, and you are the main source of evil. Something that you have done throughout your life is based on evil. You see, Quang, evil may seem like it is winning, yet from the moment evil begins its own existence, it also begins its own demise. And here we stand showing you the truth." What I saw next came so suddenly. The Emperor's hands moved slowly under his pillow, revealing 2 ancient swords. As he stood up, swinging the 2 swords rapidly back and forth, cutting a large section of the bed curtains, as they fell hard to the stone floor, the Emperor said sarcastically, "You have killed 200 of my personal guards. How you 2 barbarians accomplished that, I will never know. Then you killed my 6 sons. There is something you don't know about me, Zhang Lai Wang. I am not just another man with weaponry skills. I am trained in the dark forces. And yes, I am evil. And both of you are about to experience the greatest dark evil forces that you have ever encountered." As I sat at my computer, tuned into the long-gone past, that to me was actual reality in its own form. Out of nowhere, the dead 6 bodies of the Emperor's sons began to shake, vibrate heavily. A black swirling energy moved all around the body parts. What came next was like a movie. The parts of each body joined back together within moments, suddenly rising up, standing vertical. They all gripped their swords, removing them from their sleeve. then swinging back and forth very swiftly. What I was seeing was actual zombies. Even the black, thick energy was swirling within them and around them. Wow, what a strange happening. It was quite obvious that the Emperor was a black evil magician. The way the 6 zombies moved was mind-blowing. They seemed to vibrate directly towards Zhang and Shang, swinging their swords rapidly yet perfectly in their movements. Just as they were about to strike them both, Zhang and Shang moved swiftly like lightning in 2 different directions, with Zhang Lai Wang yelling out to Shang, "Do not fight them. Even striking them down, they will join back again and again. It is a waste of our energy." Just then Zhang created an energy field that he projected at the 6 of them, encasing them. The energy began to shrink around them tightly until they had no power to move. It seemed like they were all frozen. The Emperor looked on with a shocked expression as Zhang Lai Wang created a dark reddish energy, then directed it at the 6 encased bodies, saying in a powerful tone of voice, "What has been created as evil is no more. Shrink the energies as well as the bodies, as they have no more life, now." I was so intrigued in viewing what was happening to the 6 zombies within their encasements. The reddish energy entered the encasements, and right before my eyes, the bodies just began to disappear, as well as the 6 encasements, all gone into thin air forever. The Emperor Kuang yelled out as he moved very fast towards Shang Lu Sha, swinging his swords from left to right, hoping to end his life so he could take the position back as emperor, but he didn't accomplish his revenge. Zhang Lai Wang moved like lightning at the Emperor Kuang, striking both of the emperor's arms. They fell to the floor, with both hands holding the swords, gripped in the hands of the emperor. The emperor, seeing his arms lying on the floor, he screams out so loudly as Zhang and Shang both strike at the same moment, with Zhang Lai Wang slicing at the emperor's head and Shang Lu Sha striking at the emperor's waistline. As they both stand there, looking at the emperor, his body parts simply fell to the ground, lifeless. Zhang Lai Wang turned, looking at his son, saying with a big smile, "This is the most pleasing, my son. Justice has been served. The ex-emperor and his sons are no longer. You, my son, must take the throne as emperor and help the people of this great country to let go of all their pain and instill the positive energy back into all the people of China." The look on Shang's face seemed very pleasing to his father. He stated, "Yes, father, I will do that, but we still have a big problem out there." Then the look I saw on Zhang Lai Wang's face was if there is no problem, as he spoke out, "Come, son, our destiny awaits us." Zhang Lai Wang puts his arm over his son's shoulder as they proceed to walk out of the bedchamber along an amazing large walkway, then through large doors that led out onto a massive floor area outside of the Emperor's imperial palace. As both of them came to a halt at the large wide stairs that viewed outwardly, as well as their left and right side, what they saw was a massive number of soldiers, all dressed in armor, all holding a long staff that had a strange-shaped sword on the top. As they both stared, so did the soldiers. Everything went completely quiet. Then 3 soldiers that looked like generals walked up to them asking, "Who are you two?" Zhang answered, "I am Zhang Lai Wang, and this is my son, Shang Lu Sha." One of the generals looked them up and down, asking, "Why have you both walked out of the Emperor's palace? What is your purpose in being here?" Zhang Lai Wang looked at his son, then turned back to the general, answering, "To bring justice for my wife and daughter, and justice to Shang's family. His father, Ling Chang, was meant to be emperor, chosen by his father. But Emperor Kuang murdered his father as well as his brother, Ling Chang, and his entire family. But I found a young child when it was only 15 months old, and took him as my own, and named him Shang Li Sha. But he is the son of Ling Chang, and his real name is Zhang Di Chang, the rightful heir to the Emperor of China and all that it contains. So what is it to be? As my viewing became clearer to what may take place, I saw the three generals step back from Zheng and Chang, talking softly to each other. Within moments, the three generals walked up to Shang Lu Sha, looking at him closely. Then the three generals bowed down, all saying out loud, "Emperor Zheng Di Chang, we accept you as a new emperor that will be for all the people of China and beyond." Then I saw the three generals get up, turning to the soldiers with their hands up high, speaking out ever so loudly, in perfect pitch. "Huang Chang and his evil sons are dead. Huang Chang murdered his own father and murdered his own brother and his whole family so he could become emperor. The younger man behind us is the son of Ling Chang, who survived the massacre. The other man behind us is Zheng Lai Wang, who found and fathered Zheng Di Chang and has brought justice to all. Zheng Di Chang is the rightful emperor of China. He is your emperor. I ask for all of you to kneel and honor our true emperor, Zheng Di Chang." As I viewed to what was taking place, I was just blown away, seeing thousands of soldiers all kneeling perfectly at the same moment with their heads bowed also. Just then the look on Shang's face brought tears to his father, Zhang, who walked up behind him saying softly, "My son, it would be wise at this moment to stand forward and say some words to the soldiers." Shang looked at his father nodding his head, then stepped forward saying out loud, "Thank you for showing me respect. I also kneel before all of you in appreciation in accepting me as Zheng Di Chang as your new emperor." As Shang kneeled, so does Zheng Lai Wang. A little time passed with Shang standing up, saying, "Please rise, my fellow brothers." Seeing all those thousands of soldiers standing up just took my breath away. It was fantastic to go back so far into past history of actual truth. The truth we have in our so-called history books, in most cases, is a complete lie. History as we, humanity, know it to be, has been rewritten by the elite criminals, directly through all governments, which are in truth being ordered and controlled by the elite criminals, who also run and control the so-called World Health Organization. And that is actual truth, actual fact. At this point, it seems what is being shown to me has changed a little, like sped up. Shang Lu Sha, now being the Emperor Zheng Di Chang, made some immediate changes. The first, he gave a pardon to Zheng Lai Wang for his past, so it was noted in their history scrolls. Second, he offered him a position as Commander General in his army, which gave him the authority to make most decisions, as well as to live within the palace. He also makes a new law that the people of China had a voice, and made sure with his army that no citizen went hungry, but also lived in a dwelling. He also made a new law that all females who were giving birth were looked upon as equal to all males. The new emperor, Zheng Di Chang, over some years married one female only and had 2 daughters and 2 sons. Life for the emperor was very happy. All of China became happy. There were always many, many celebrations. From seeing a very sad moment with Zheng Lai Wang, he passed away in his sleep. And from what I was being shown, he reached the age of 86. There was a massive funeral for Zheng Lai Wang with all of China. The time of the viewing seemed to go faster, then showing the Emperor Zheng Di Chang also passing away at an age identical to Zheng Lai Wang, being 86 years of age. What was shown to me right in this moment was Zheng Di Wang rising up from his burning body. As he floated up, there stood Zheng Lai Wang with a big happy smile saying to his son, "About time, my son. I've been waiting you for so long. We have things to talk about and also to plan our next incarnation into the human world. We have a long time to plan, a little over 10,000 human years, my son. By the way, may I call you Shang, since you are no longer the emperor? The emperor, Zhang Di Chang, laughed out loudly, answering his father, "Yes, father, and I am honored that you came for me." All I could see was Zhang Lai Wang with his arms around his father's shoulders, both laughing, moving off into the spirit realm and disappearing into nothingness. Wow, this had made me feel just amazingly happy. Seeing myself and my wife together in one of the most incredible incarnations from over 13,000 human years ago. She was my guide, especially my guide when it came to spirituality and human physical reality. Wow, what's next to come? Just something I need to express about the magic of human life. For one to grow in full consciousness, one must bring balance to the 5 elements that makes up the human body, so one can exist within the 3rd dimensional realm of physical. They are fire, water, air, earth, spirit. Then one needs also to bring the balance of mind, body, spirit, and soul into full conscious awareness, which allows the opening, called the knowing, to all things in all universes, which is the pineal gland of every single human being. Well, back to you, Mr. Michael Yon. Are there any questions by any chance you wish to ask?
That was amazing, Kuntarkis. And how over what period did you discover this existence, this story?
Probably over a few weeks. I had these strange, how would you say, visual visions while I was physically awake or doing a very small meditation, but being awake in that meditation, just having my eyes closed and going very deeply. And as well as when I when I spiritually projected out of my physical body, I had some experiences where I was way back, 13,331 years ago. And I had a voice. I don't know who the voice was, but it was definitely a male voice. To me, I thought it was Father, Yarkis Kardis. But the voice just sounded a little different. And it explained why I was there and what I am being shown and also told. And what I saw was the spirit of Kalusha and the spirit of Kuntarkis entering the human physical world, its vibration being 3rd dimensional. And what I also saw was them suddenly being entered into a mother's womb and being born. And that was it. It cut it off from there. And that's when it all started. And then I was shown more and more and more and more and more. That's why I had to write and write and write. So it was over a few weeks, Michael.
Yeah, and it all converted to English for you to understand what was being said?
100%.
Wow.
Even though it was Sanskrit, it all became English. Simple. You know, what we as a human being, what we don't fully grasp when it comes to energy, everything that is physical is basically living energy formulated and manifested through living consciousness from living energy into the physical realm of solid matter. And when we learn to understand how we were created, the elements, fire, water, air, earth, spirit, mind, body, spirit, and soul, we start to grow more in consciousness as a human ourselves. And then we learn that we have such a thing called the pineal gland that can show us visions, can also connect to our cellular memory. So that's the more interesting factor. The funny thing is, just recently when I was in the universe of the Nibulans and I was being shown, I asked to be shown this, And that was the whole event of what took place back 13,331 years ago. Now, the interesting factor, which I know I say the interesting factor a lot, but it is, they also showed me that when Kalusha and Kuntarkis came through the vibration as spirits, they put their bodies into, I'm not sure what they call it. They put their bodies into these special chambers that kept their bodies 100% active, as if they've never aged. And they projected out of their bodies because they have that ability, and they move through vibrations very quickly into the Earth's vibration and came into the third dimensional vibration of solid matter. When they finished what I just finished reading, at the end, they were planning, but at the same time, they were projecting themselves spiritually back to Nakaris, the planet, back into their bodies, still living their lives as normal, but also planning. It was done in two different places, on Nakaris, and then when they decided to come back, before they reincarnated, they existed within the spirit realm as well as the physical realm. They had no barriers. And this is what I'm trying to, how would you say, get across to humanity. The only barriers we have is the barriers that we have set up personally ourselves through very high conditioning of negativity, especially all the characteristics that are transferred from our parents through each incarnation into the child. And the child ends up living very similar realities to what their parents have lived, just different circumstances. It's only when we break through that understanding, through the knowing, we can then grow consciously. And when we begin to grow consciously, we also dissipate the limitations that we have created upon ourselves through negative karma.
So the bodies had been, it was a bit hard to follow, Kuntarkis. The bodies had been suspended
Yes.
when the spirits came to Earth.
Absolutely. They have the ability to do that, no problems.
So the planning for coming to Earth and helping out here was done physically while they were incarnated.
Yes. It was while they were incarnated on Nakaris, yes.
Wow.
Because of the research that Kalusha was doing, she knew that she had to intervene. And the reason she had to intervene was to stop the slaughter of just over 58 million human people. That's how many people would have died viciously and violently because of the emperor. His plan was massive. What he had in his, how would you say, his war room was these massive maps, huge, I mean massive, showing China and other lands and how he was going to take over them. He was creating fear in other civilizations and making out that his army was so huge that he could take it all over in one go. It was so big. So by Kalusha knowing about it, researching, and saying, we have to intervene. And Kalusha and me as Kuntarkis, we put our bodies in suspension, came to planet Earth, planned it, incarnated through human bodies, lived our life up to a certain stage. He found, Zhang Lai Wang found Shang Lu Sha and taught him, and eventually removed the emperor so he would not massively murder over 58 million human people. Now, I know I mentioned this, but do you know who the emperor was back then?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it for the last 2 minutes. Yeah. trying to murder in his own way this people of Earth as Bill Gates.
Exactly. And Bill Gates is doing the same thing today in a different manner. That's all the incarnations. And that's what the elite criminals do every single lifetime, incarnate in the same family line through the wheels of life. Even have the same children. Yes, they'll change. The father that was living in that lifetime could be the son in the next lifetime, or the daughter, or the wife. But they keep doing it to keep the energy fresh. And they end up doing it by becoming filthy rich in every single lifetime. From over 928,000 years ago, it all began. The 157,000 violent wars on planet Earth in that time was created by the elite criminals. Yes, they were kings, queens, emperors, dictators, mass murderers, whatever. They were all psychopaths, narcissists, and they are exactly that today. And this is what has to be removed. All of the elite criminals, all of the terrorists, all the mass murderers, all the pedophiles, all the serial rapists, they have to be removed so humanity can become balanced and begin to grow consciously the way humanity was meant to be. And I'm not joking. What we will be able to do as a species will be beyond words, because we'll be able to open our pineal gland after, say, many generations, and we'll be able to travel, project out of our bodies, manifest things like the Macarons do out of living energy. But the way it's going now is the destruction of humanity by the elite criminals. And they've been doing it for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah, and you said the removal of them, that means the removal of their spirits, so they never incarnate again, right?
Exactly. Oh, by the way, last Friday night, 100,001 were gathered up and put into the dome, and at the same time, vaporized. So it's just under 170,000 that have now been vaporized. The astral world, I've been down there on that night. I viewed it. All the sludge, all the sickness is now gone.
Really?
And all the sludge is removed. Yes, it'll probably happen again, but it'll be removed quickly. Not left there for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years.
You thought your father would come this time. Did he come this time?
No, he didn't.
No? There was no need?
No, there was no need. No.
Wow.
But Nipulans, they were there in great forces. 30,000.
Wow.
And you know why they were there?
To observe and to help?
To see, to be part of what is the cleansing, and also the balance of energies. And I tell you now, spirit world, after the astral world, but the spirit world is starting to formulate into one vibration, no longer separate. Because the people who will be born from that spirit world into human reality will have a higher form of consciousness and understanding. And after several generations, everything will change. Everything. The evil that exists here is evil, satanic, really bad. When it's all gone, Michael, everything will change. Life will become rich in every way. Love, unconditional love, will be the power source to all. No hardship, no money, no monetary system. Everyone works for each other and everyone has everything they need. It'll be very, very different.
Yeah, finally we start to be able to grow as beings.
As absolutely. At the moment, we cannot grow. We cannot grow consciously unless the evil is removed, because it is very dark. Very, very dark. You have to guess where it originated from, the
Oh,
darkness.
I'm not sure where.
What do they call that area? Black space, is it? What's that called? Oh, there's a part of space where there's no stars, no planets, and it's just
Ah,
black space. Or I'm sorry, I can't think of it at the
yeah,
moment.
I might have to look it up and.
It's a negative energy from other civilizations that have destroyed themselves and their own worlds, and all are gathered into one place.
Wow.
And when you pass through it, you can bring that really negative stuff back here to planet Earth, and it will start its journey of evil. And that black space is going to be removed, by the way, once humanity goes beyond what we are and starts to grow consciously, and the spirit world is all 100% balanced. That black space will be removed. And Father will do that. I would never be able to do that, I know that. But Father will. It'll be totally vaporized into nothingness. And I tell you something now, it's massive. Very massive.
This concludes another episode of Kuntarkis. If you'd like to find out more about Kuntarkis, find his website, which is etcconsciousness.com. He has articles there, he has his books listed there, and also if you have any reason to contact us in general for any reason, just email kuntarkis@gmail.com. That's it for now. Thanks so much for listening. My name is Michael Yon, and stay tuned for more.